now we are delighted to have David Moore with us, who will be demonstrating the ultimate Christmas present for me, the telescope. Of course, this marks the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, where it all began. Fiachar Seo.
The 11-foot beds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. I'm going to step off the limb now. See if you can pull that hip off a little bit. Houston, Columbia on the high gain, over.
Columbia, this is Houston, reading you loud and clear, over.
Yeah, reading you loud and clear. How's it going?
Roger, the EVA is progressing beautifully. They're setting up the flag now.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
David, great to have you on the show. You actually interviewed Neil Armstrong.
Yes, he was in Ireland in 2003, and we interviewed him for our magazine. And, of course, you ask him all the usual questions, what's it like? The big question for us that we didn't expect the answer, because this was before we knew Barack Obama was Irish and Tom Cruise is Irish. And I thought Armstrong was a Scottish name, but he said no, he had just traced his ancestry, and he was proud that his family came from County Fermanagh.
Fermanagh.
So he was born in the turn of the 20th century. So his roots from the 1800s wouldn't have been that old. There was more DNA on the moon from Ireland than anywhere else.
Well, brilliant.
So let's call him an Irishman.
We'll certainly claim him. When you're starting, I suppose, binoculars would be a good place to start, David.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots you can see with the naked eye, but then you want to increase your eyesight. Binoculars now are very inexpensive. These are a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars, it'll say that on them somewhere, 10x50. And they'll collect nearly 100 times more light than your eyes.
Whoa.
So you can see the craters on the moon with these, just about, star clusters, galaxies, the odd comet that comes along.
You say create light. Is that what it's all about, the telescopes and binoculars, creating light?
Exactly. The lens at the front is basically mimicking the pupil of your eye. So it's obviously much bigger than your pupil. And in fact, the area of this lens is about 100 times the area of the average pupil. So that's why the images are that much brighter. And the 10x means they magnify 10 times. So that gives you 10 times closer. And the 50 is how wide those lenses are, 50 millimeters.
Okay, what about this then?
Yeah, if you get serious about the hobby, you might want a big pair, and these are 80 millimeter
What would
lenses.
you use these for?
Well, they'll get you a bit closer, but they'll make everything very bright. Because in astronomy, it's at night, everything's very dark and dim. If you're looking at galaxies that are millions of light years away.
You'll use these at night?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you can use them during the day as well. That's the great thing. They can be used for bird spotting, racing, the beach, landscapes, all those kind of things. That's what they're actually designed for, but they have great use for astronomy. And they've dropped in price dramatically in the last few decades. You can pick up a pair like this for about 20 euros these days. And they were a lot more expensive when I started the hobby, so that's definitely something everybody should own.
Now, if we move on to something like this, we have a lovely bag here just to demonstrate how easy it is to bring around the place.
Yeah, this one actually comes in a backpack that you can sling over your back, go hiking with it, or get to the top of the hill to view if you want to get away from the city. And inside you've got a lens telescope, and there are two types of telescope, lenses and mirrors.
Which are better?
Lenses are better, they're more compact, but as they get bigger, they get more expensive faster. So most of the giant telescopes in the world are actually mirror telescopes, because the lenses, for technical reasons, wouldn't even work when they're in very large sizes. Yeah. And this one has a 70 millimeter lens at the front. Again, with a telescope, it's all about diameter, not magnification. If you ever see a telescope claiming to be great because of its magnification, walk away from it. Because you can take the eyepiece out, this in there, which magnifies, and make it low or high. You can have loads of these different ones. You can change the magnification anyway, but if the lens isn't big enough, you won't see a lot.
Just to give us some kind of idea, can you see the moon with this? And if you can see the moon, how big would the moon be, or how close to the moon can you get?
Well, this one comes with lenses that magnify about 40 and 80 times, so much higher than the binoculars.
Yeah.
So the moon is in miles, 240,000 miles away. If you're magnifying 80, it's like being 3,000 miles away. That's almost the view the astronauts got when they were heading to the moon, looking down. And you don't just see the craters, you can see the mountains inside the craters.
Whoa. And
we'll be setting up even bigger telescopes like this at a special watch we have at our headquarters up in Dublin on Saturday for everyone to come and have a look and ask questions about
how much
telescopes.
would something like this cost then, David?
Today, they've really dropped dramatically in price, about 10 times cheaper in real terms than when I was a kid. And I think this is selling for less than 100 euros.
Less than 100
70 euros or so at one stage I know they were selling for. That includes the backpack, the telescope, two eyepieces to give you different magnifications. You can even hook a camera up to this one. And it's on a stand, which means when you are magnifying that bit more, especially on the moon and the planets, It holds it steady. You wouldn't be able to do that with binoculars. And I've seen the rings of Saturn with this telescope, the cloud belts on Jupiter, Jupiter's moons, star clusters and galaxies, and I do actually sometimes use it with a camera.
Oh, for less than 100 quid.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now, is this a mirror telescope?
Yeah, this is the other type of telescope. A little bit bigger again, but if you look down the tube, you'll see, first of all, you put your hand down, there's no lens at the front.
Yeah.
Down the bottom, there's a curved mirror. Isaac Newton invented this hundreds of years ago, and it's still a popular design today. And the wider this mirror is, the more light it's collecting. It hits a little secondary mirror up here just before it comes to a focus, and that diverts out the side of the tube. So although the telescope's looking at something over there, you actually poke your eye at this end.
You look at this end.
Yeah,
And can you put things in here as well?
You change the eyepiece to get different magnifications depending on what you want to view. This one's actually a computerized telescope as well, so some of the stands actually have motors in them. That's a hand control that will move it up and down, left and right. We'll even find objects for you if you want to get that advanced.
David, what about the Christmas star then? Because I know when people talk about Christmas, they all talk about Santa, presents and everything, but the Christmas star is very important to us all.
Yeah, and the question is, it's only in one part of the Bible. It might just be a story. But if it was true, turns out there's something that happened in the year 7 BC when the planets Jupiter and Saturn came together. Curious enough, they're going to do that next Christmas. But that time they came together in the constellation of Pisces. And although we don't believe in it today, the wise men would have been astrologers. And the planet Jupiter was associated with kings, Saturn with Jews, Pisces with rebirth. Rebirth, king of Jews. You don't have to be a great astrologer to predict the Messiah coming, which was forecast at the time. So there should be stories about searches going on in historical records anyway, and indeed there is. And for me, that means if there is an astronomical explanation of the Star of Bethlehem, then we can date the exact instant that Christ was born. And it will be a Tuesday evening on the 15th of September in the year 7 BC.
So we're a few years, days and months out.
Exactly. It's not December 25th. This is not heresy. The church knows that they didn't have the exact date of Christ's birth. We know it probably was in September, October, because what it says is happening in the fields in the Bible.
Agricultural answers to it.
Yeah, and the calendar that we use was only invented about the 5th century, when the Pope at the time, the church had become so big, it could actually now define the calendar for the world. And that monk who was tasked with working back the records to find out the date of Christ is known to have made several mistakes. So we know it's a few years BC anyway. This all means as well, by the way, that in 1999 we all celebrated the millennium too late.
Too late. It was gone.
It was gone.
The horse had bolted. David, just before you go, people watching this, they'll be wondering, where are the best places in Ireland to go and see these stars?
Well, we don't want to put people off. You're in a town or a city, you can see the moon and the planets from the middle of a city centre. But if you want to see the dimmer objects, the star clusters, the galaxies, then you want to get out into the countryside. And in Ireland, we've got the Kerry Dark Sky Reserve. There's the Mayo Dark Sky Park as well.
So the darker the place, the better you'll see into the sky.
The faint objects, if you want to see galaxies and faint clusters of stars, they're sort of washed. It's like trying to view your TV screen in the summer with the sunlight shining on the screen.
That's a good description of it.
And going out to the country, that's like drawing the curtains.
David, loads of information in this magazine as well.
Yeah.
And absolutely fascinating. Thank you very much for being with us today. Now, Astronomy Ireland, astrology.ie for more information. Now, over to our very own star, Maura.